the calm. Before the storm for centuries, humanity had been patient. From the earliest days of our spacefaring journey, we had been looked upon with suspicion, amusement, and sometimes outright disdain. Our species, originating from a hostile death world, was often underestimated by the more advanced alien races. We were seen as primitive, dangerous, and unpredictable, but never as a serious threat. After all, how could a single young species with a short history stand against the powerful, ancient empires of the galaxy? But humanity endured. We survived the Sirith invasion, where entire colonies were razed and millions of innocent lives lost. We held our ground against the Nidrex, an insectoid species that had nearly wiped us out. Even the mysterious Shelon raiders who had terrorized the galaxy for eons underestimated us, until we decimated their fleet in a surprise strike, proving that humanity was capable of far more than anyone had thought. Still, we were treated as outsiders. We were never invited to the council tables where the galaxy's most powerful beings made decisions. The Zorath Dominion, the Vantaran Coalition, and the Ravian Federation dismissed our pleas, laughed at our attempts to form alliances, and treated our people as nothing more than expendable pawns. They thought us weak, too primitive to stand up for ourselves, too divided to challenge them. But humanity's patience had its limits. For 100 years, a select group of scientists and military leaders had been working on a secret project. AI, weapon so powerful it would finally make the galaxy listen. It would not be an ordinary weapon, nor a fleet of ships. It would be a symbol of humanity's indomitable will, a planet-sized weapon that could strike at the very heart of any empire that dared to challenge us. The Omega Fortress was born. Buried on the dark side of the moon, it remained a closely guarded secret, its construction hidden from even our closest allies. There, we built an artificial planet, a colossal force capable of reshaping the very fabric of the galaxy. The time had come. Humanity had waited long enough, but now we were ready to show the galaxy what happened when we were pushed too far. The Omega Fortress. The Omega Fortress was not just a weapon. It was an entire ecosystem designed for one purpose: retaliation. This was no mere war machine. It was a living testament to human engineering. An artificial planet constructed from the core of a massive asteroid, the Omega Fortress was a fortress in the truest sense of the word, spanning thousands of miles in diameter. It was equipped with weapons that could obliterate entire star systems in the blink of an eye. At its core was a massive fusion reactor powered by a nearby black hole, harnessing its gravitational energy to create pulses of destructive energy. The fortress could travel at near light speed, using advanced gravity warping engines that could bend the fabric of space itself, rendering it invisible to most detection systems, and its arsenal was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. The main cannon could fire a single shot that would obliterate a planet, while smaller energy emitters scattered across its surface could target fleets with precision, tearing them apart with devastating force. But what made the Omega Fortress truly unique was the one thing the galaxy had never considered: humanity's ingenuity. The fortress was designed not just to destroy, but to adapt. As it traveled through the galaxy, it would learn, evolve, and adjust to new threats. There was no weapon, no defense, no tactic that could stop it. It was the ultimate evolution of human warfare. Now the Omega Fortress had awakened, and the galaxy would finally understand the consequences of their arrogance. The first strike. The first target was clear. The Zorath Dominion had long been a thorn in humanity's side. Known for their brutal conquests and ruthless tactics, the Zorath had crushed countless civilizations and taken numerous colonies as slaves. They had inflicted untold suffering on our people, but they had never faced retaliation, until now. As the Omega Fortress emerged from the moon's dark side, its engines ignited, sending it hurtling through space. Its first course was set: the Zorath capital, a sprawling city-planet surrounded by defense fleets, heavily fortified and seemingly invincible. The Zorath had long boasted that no one could breach their defenses, and they had laughed at humanity's attempts to build something to match their power. The Omega Fortress wasn't interested in laughing. It was interested in delivering a message. Within hours, the massive weapon reached the Zorath system. The Zorath fleet responded immediately, launching thousands of ships in an attempt to repel the threat. But the Omega Fortress was already a step ahead. With a single, calculated move, the weapon fired its main cannon. A beam of pure, concentrated energy that ripped through the Zorath's outer defenses like paper. The explosion was visible across the entire system, sending shockwaves through space. As the Zorath fleet scrambled to retaliate, the Omega Fortress remained calm, firing again and again with pinpoint accuracy. The largest Zorath warships, once thought indestructible, were reduced to fragments. Their capital's defenses crumbled, and the once mighty city planet was engulfed in flames. In mere hours, the Zorath Dominion had been wiped out, and their empire lay in ruins. The first strike was not just a message. It was the beginning of something new. The galaxy would never be the same. The galactic panic. The news of the Zorath's annihilation spread through the galaxy like wildfire. It wasn't just the destruction of one empire. It was the collapse of an entire power structure. The galaxy's most powerful empires were terrified. The Vantaran Coalition, a union of several star systems known for their diplomatic prowess and vast military power, was paralyzed with fear. Their fleets, once considered invincible, were no match for the Omega Fortress. The Ravian Federation, a militaristic empire that had ruled with an iron fist for centuries, quickly sent emissaries trying to negotiate with humanity before it was too late. But humanity's patience had run out. The message had been clear. We would no longer be ignored. The galaxy's leaders convened in secret, attempting to form alliances against the human threat. But what they didn't realize was that the Omega Fortress was not merely a weapon. It was humanity's declaration of independence. It was a statement that we no longer sought permission from the galaxy's ruling powers. The time for diplomacy was over. As the Omega Fortress began to move toward its next target, the galaxy's response was anything but united. Some empires sought to confront humanity head-on, while others turned their gaze toward the dark, uncertain future that lay ahead. What they all knew, however, was that there was no going back. The age of human submission had ended. The fall of the unseen empires. After the destruction of the Zorath Dominion, humanity turned its attention to the next threat, the Othrian Conclave, a species of peaceful diplomats who had long claimed to be neutral in the galaxy's conflicts. Yet beneath their facade of peace, they had secretly aided the Zorath in their campaigns against humanity. When the Omega Fortress arrived at the Othrian capital, the response was swift. The Conclave's defense systems were far less advanced than the Zorath's, and their military was weak compared to the might of the Omega Fortress. With a single strike, the Conclave's capital was obliterated, leaving nothing but a dying star in its place. Next came the Vantaran Coalition. Their massive warships tried to intercept the Omega Fortress, but their attacks had no effect. The fortress simply adapted, learning from each engagement and using its superior technology to crush the Vantaran fleets one by one. Within weeks, the once great Vantaran Coalition was left a shadow of its former self. The Ravian Federation, realizing the might of humanity, attempted to strike a deal with the Federation. But it was too late. Their fleets were obliterated before they could reach Earth. Humanity had taken the first step toward galactic dominance, and there was no stopping it. The new era, the galaxy, was forever changed. The Omega Fortress continued its journey, and with each empire it crushed, humanity's reputation grew. No longer were we the underdogs. No longer were we the ones to be looked down upon. Humanity had claimed its place at the top of the galaxy's power structure. But Captain Amelia Grant, the commander of the Omega Fortress, knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy would need to rebuild, and humanity would have to lead the way. The Omega Fortress was a symbol, not of conquest, but of the will to survive. The galaxy's balance had shifted, and humanity had ensured that we would never be seen as weak again. From now on, The galaxy will remember the cost of underestimating us, Captain Grant said, standing on the bridge of the Omega Fortress, gazing out at the shattered remains of the Vantaran homeworld. We're no longer waiting. We're in control. And so the new era began. The age of human dominance had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget the price of its arrogance.